My video for July the 24th, 2019 is video number 3156. And the title is All My Life I've Had This Crazy Dream. My previous video provided the trigger for this one, even though I did not focus much on the subject brought up by Van Jones' reference to Martin Luther King's famous speech. Like King, like King and many others, I've had this crazy dream all my life. I've referred in many of my videos to the fact that my parents dedicated me to God even before I was actually conceived, and I grew up with the dream of helping create heaven on earth. But then I go to discussion groups where it seems there is so much emphasis on the idea that this 3D world is just an illusion. That kind of talk always brings up painful thoughts for me. If it's just an illusion, what the hell am I doing here thinking I can play a role or any role in the dream of many have of experiencing heaven on earth? I keep saying that experience is always real, and of course I believe that is the truth. Yet if it's just an illusion, how can anything be true at all? Have I lived my life in vain chasing an idea that can never become reality on earth? You're right, Van Jones. King did not start his speech with, I have a complaint. And few may like it when I say that I do have a complaint. It's all based on my crazy dream that I have a role to play right here, right now, on this insane planet. And I'm seeing mistakes that I made, and I just corrected one of them. Anyway, I was ready to record this video, and all of a sudden I heard tapping, which sounded like it was coming from the apartment above me. So when it didn't stop, and I have all the lights turned on, I'm ready to record, and the tapping is loud. So I go up to the next apartment, and the guy just moved in this month, not even much furniture in his apartment. In any case, it wasn't him. So it's something going on the roof of the building. And I learned that they have all sorts of electromagnetic antennas on top of the building that I live in, which has all sorts of warning signs about it emits bad energy. Maybe that's why I have trouble sleeping so often. And there's many times I can't even get 2 hours sleep in a row. And I have to segment and try to get a little bit of sleep here and a little bit of sleep there, and you never catch up. But anyway, I've had this dream, as I said, all my life. And when I go to discussion groups, and remember, my friend Steve Hart is a magician. He's a master of illusion or deception in the sense of he's doing something with one hand while he's getting you to focus on another hand, and you don't see how things are going. And I've watched videos of magicians, and some of them, I mean, I can't figure out. And even some of Steve's tricks, I mean, he can trick us right in the discussion group, although it's not as impressive as his shows, I'm sure, but just little tricks here and there. So I do understand that that we are easily deceived here on this planet. I understand that. And I've tried my best to get beyond the deception and to get down to the meat of the matter, to the reality of the situation, that Earth is a planet that for some reason God abandoned us and left us to dark entities that rebelled against God, because in the beginning they couldn't, if God was all there is, in the beginning they were part of God. But according to the story we've been told, some of the angels rebelled and became devils. And again, that means there's an inversion of everything, so that nothing is as it seems, because everything has been turned on its head, inside out and upside down, and we don't see anything as it really is. That's what is meant, I guess, by the term that the world is just an illusion. And I don't like being deluded and deceived. As I've said also, I had a program for a long time on WTTC in Towanda, Pennsylvania, called Be Not Deceived. Started out as a 15-minute program, I think quarter to 8 till 8 a.m. Sunday mornings, and then it went to right after, or just before the Billy Graham thing. I'm not exactly sure which time frame, but it was right next to Billy Graham, is what I'm saying, on that same radio station. And it was recording. Then I was recording live in the studio, and I'd take the recording home, and I lost all of those recordings in a house fire, unfortunately, that had all of my reel-to-reel tapes of the recordings. It had them all in a box, and that whole box was just destroyed. But I've had this dream of life being meaningful, of having a purpose, of being here for something that was of value, not just to me, but for all humans with good intent. And I don't believe that all humans do have good intent, but it's bothered me and triggered a lot of things when I hear someone sharing a book in another one of Steve's discussion groups a week ago, where even the person who had lived not a very good life at all ended up going to heaven. And there was no karma, there was no, he woke up and he saw what he had done, and everything was fine. It was totally, the slate was wiped clean in another dimension. This dimension had nothing to do with that reality. There was a gulf between this world in his lifetime and that world in his experience that he shared with a sister whom he communicated with extra ESP, extrasensory perception. He was actually communicating with her for a year. And a lot of it got written down and put into a book, as I said. But Van Jones' reference to Martin Luther King, he did say, I don't have a complaint. But we need to be raising our voices, in my opinion, and saying, God, take responsibility for creation. And then I hear people say, but it's up to us. It's up to us. Okay, well then empower us. Turn the codons that have been turned off so that all we can experience is love and fear and love. I guess love was there. Those are the only two codons that we can experience. Let all the ones that have been turned off get turned back on so that we have full capacity as we were created in the beginning. We didn't do that to ourselves. And they say, yes, we did, Ron. You may not remember, but you were part of that too. Well, you're right. I don't remember. And I can't prove any of it, except I have no recall. All that I know is that in this lifetime, I have only willed good for people. I have wanted people to be uplifted, even the dark side, to come to a place of actual repentance, which starts with admitting I've done something that's not very good and making amends for the sins that were committed by some of these people. And it has to be done when we can remember it. If it's some other lifetime that we have no recall of this one, or we come back here and we have no recall of other previous lifetimes, what good does it do? I mean, we're so limited. And I want to remove or see the limitations that are heaped upon us removed so that we can become the wonderful beings that I believe we were intended to be in the very beginning. Is that wrong that I have that dream? That's my dream. And I complain, yes, that it's so hard for any of us to break through all of the deception and all of the corruption and get to a place where we can truly be free at last. And one of the things that came up in the discussion is we can choose to die. Well, that's not a very easy choice, is it? When we think that dying means it's the end. But of course, the thing was, it's not really the end. You die and you just go to a different dimension. What is truth? That's the question I continue to ask. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.